welcome to another episode of In the Hot Seat podcast. And in this episode, will be all about AEW and as well New Japan Pro Wrestling with the Forbidden Door for 2023. But before I get into that, I did want to give a shout out to the She Elite podcast for having me on the show. And there's something really special that's going to be happening on their podcast very soon, where we talked about basically a top 5 list on who we thought was our favorite top women's wrestlers, basically from the past and as well currently. So we made our own list. It was a lot of fun, and stay tuned to see who was able to actually make the list. I think it's very interesting. So definitely check out the She Elite podcast on that. Wanted to thank them for having me on the show. Definitely for getting into the 0 hour first, and then we get into the main card as always for the Forbidden Door. And you may have noticed, and I noticed too, that there was only one match that wasn't able to happen, and that is with Adam Cole and Tom Lawler. I was really looking forward to that. So turned out that Adam Cole wasn't unfortunately cleared to compete. Looks like he had an illness, so hopefully things will get better for Adam Cole. And not too sure when we'll get to see that match happen. Maybe at the next pay-per-view in London. We can probably see that, I'm sure. So hopefully things will be okay. Then we had the Embassy dealing with things, taking on El Desperado, Chaos, Rocky Romero, dealing with Chuck Taylor and as well Trent Beretta, best friends on this one in the 8-man tag, where the Embassy and as well Swerve Strickland were able to get their win there. Then we get into Athena and as well Billy Starks to see who will move on into the Owen Hart women's side of the tournament. Very interesting stuff. Really couldn't win either or. I'm really getting into Billy Starks as of late, but Athena actually getting her win there. And then we had El Phantasmo and as well Stu Grayson on this one, and El Phantasmo able to get his win there. And then we get into where we had basically the 6-man on this one, and trying to get familiar with a lot of names on this one, where we had basically Bushi on this one, where we had Takagi on this one, and I believe Yurahima on this one. So trying to still get familiar with names, of course, on the opposing team, where we had Jeff Cobb, TJP, which was really nice to see him. Kyle Fletcher all on this one. And of course, basically Bushi and his team was able to get the win there. So getting into the main card, where we started things off for the AEW World Heavyweight title. MJF are dealing with Tanahashi on this one. A really crazy back and forth matchup between the two. MJF actually not only did he get the win, but he also didn't want to be a part of this match, so he ended up actually wrestling anyway, and he ended up winning and keeping his world title on that. Then we get into the Owen Hart Foundation tournament for the men, basically dealing with CM Punk and Kojima, if I get that last name correctly. So it's really weird to actually have CM Punk be booed, especially since they're in Toronto and everything, so I always appreciate the Canadian crowd. These two doing everything that they kind of see he would be able to move on, and everything where CM Punk was looking to deal with the GTS. We saw the DDT, couple stuff like that. CM Punk actually moving on in the tournament and actually looking to see if he can win the Owen Hart tournament. And then we get into the International Championship Fatal 4 match, where we have Orange Cassidy, Zack Sabre Jr., Daniel Garcia, as well as Shibata all in this one. And it really couldn't went again, basically either or with any one of these men. But somehow, some way, Orange Cassidy was able to come back and actually get himself the win to keep his championship. And that was really cool there. Really awesome spots as well to see who will be able to be champion and everything. And it looks like Zack Sabre Jr. wants a singles match with Orange Cassidy, so that would be dope and badass to be able to see that. We had also dealt with the IWGP World Heavyweight Championship match as well, where we had Sonata and as well Jungle Boy on this one. and a really interesting turning events afterwards. I will get into that a little bit later. Of course, Hook was there in full support for Jungle Boy and everything, and it felt like Jungle Boy was trying to figure out a way and how he can deal with Sonata. And Sonata able to answer back at times too as well, but Jungle Boy found a way to actually uh, deal with things, but Sonata was able to win and keep his title. So with that, basically getting into afterwards, where we had I don't know why I thought Hook was gonna be the one to turn, but ended up being Jungle Boy. So that was really interesting how that turned about. Now that we have Luchasaurus as a heel, of course, and Jay as a heel. Really curious to see where he's going to be able to fit into the mix. Is he going to go back with Luchasaurus and Christian Cage? So there's a lot of questions, and I'm sure he's going to be dealing with Hook now. So there's a feud with that. So a lot to really be looking forward to with that. So in a way, I did not really expect that. I thought it would be Hook, like I said. So definitely interesting there. Then we get into with the Blackpool Combat Club, dealing with the Elite there. Really just a crazy match too as well, especially dealing with Eddie Kingston and John Moxley having their fair share of problems being added into the mix, so made things a lot more interesting there. So being able to deal with that, and we actually ended up having the Elite being able to win, so really cool seeing that happen, how Eddie Kingston was able to deal with the Elite and work well with them, so they were able to get the win, so that was really cool stuff. And then we had the Women's World Title match, being able to deal with Willow Nightingale and as well Toni Storm on this one for the Women's World Title. Of course, basically champion versus champion to see who would be the better champion. Of course, basically having Ruby Soho and Saraya at ringside as well, the full support for Toni Storm and everything, eventually, in a way, getting ejected as well. From what I remember, and being able to have Toni Storm actually retain and keep her women's world title. So it would have been really cool to see Willow be a double champ, but that wasn't the case there. Then we get into one of my favorite matches of the night, and we had the IWGP United States Heavyweight Championship match between Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay, and these two probably, it almost felt like these two were going at it for an hour and ended up being a bloody brawl. With that case, I almost thought the time limit was actually going to run out of this match. It was that crazy and insane, really awesome and dope match. Basically, a Fight Forever wrestling clinic, that is for sure. Between these two, the chemistry was amazing. I'm not too sure if they're going to continue these or not, but it was really cool stuff, definitely for sure. And we have a new champion with Will Ospreay, so we'll see what things will be able to continue on that. That remains to be seen. And right after that, we get into the six-man tag team match, of course, with Sting and Darby Allin and I believe Nato. On this one, of course, Suzuki dealing with Chris Jericho and as well as Sammy Guevara. Not a note for that as well. So interesting stuff there. Of course, you see things like the Spanish flag in this one, which is always cool, the Judas effect, and basically that much and more on this one. And of course, Chris Jericho having problems with Sting, so having them be able to face up, it's crazy that they never really wrestled before, so seeing them face to face, which was really cool. I'm sure we're seeing a singles match down the line, but Sting and his team were able to get the win, so that's really cool on that, so can't go wrong there. And then we get into the main event, no titles on the line, where we had Bryan Danielson dealing with Okada on this one. And even though I've been watching New Japan on and off over the years, I'm familiar with certain names, especially with Okada. So that's been really cool to be able to see him go up against Bryan Danielson in the main event. It felt like a big deal, especially if you aren't familiar with New Japan. You can tell the importance of each wrestler being able to be dealing with this. Hopefully, as a side note, before I get into the match, we'll get to have Stardom be able to join in the fun, the all-women's promotion there. I would love to see them get involved at some point and have some other really badass dream matches for the women. But Bryan Danielson and Okada really gave it their all, definitely for sure on that. So I guess I'm sure this was definitely a dream match for Danielson for himself and everything. So we see things first that like the DDT, the drop kick, and everything. Uh, Bryan Danielson looking to make Okada tap out and everything. So really made it interesting to see who would actually be the winner. I would have been happy either way, regardless on the outcome. But Bryan Danielson was the one to actually stop Okada on this one and basically made it for one of my favorite matches of the night. Probably one of my favorite pay-per-views of the year already as of right now. I always enjoy Forbidden Doors, so this one was really cool to say the very least. So that's it with the 0 hour. That was it for the main card. Those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts? I'd love to hear your feedback as always, so definitely leave that in the comment section, or if you want to be able to leave that in the comment section for YouTube, definitely talk to me on Twitter as well for the Hot Seat Podcast on Twitter. And as well, check out the other socials as well with the link tree. Leave a like, subscribe, and as well hit the notification bell because that helps out spread the word for the Hot Seat Podcast right here on YouTube. To be able to check out more episodes as well. There's a lot to look forward to. I know I haven't been able to do the pro wrestling during the pandemic as of yet, but I'm still working at very soon. Hopefully before the year ends, definitely for sure. I'm very certain about that. Definitely look out for the Money in the Bank review. I'm looking to actually talk about MLW for the very first time with Never Say Never coming up very soon. So that's going to be interesting, of course, with Slammiversary coming up. So there's a lot more to be looking forward to as well. Playing more where that came from, especially on the pop culture side of things. I'm looking at probably add some other stuff, maybe talk about The Walking Dead a lot more. Since we have other side shows that definitely come out, which is already arrived as of this recording with Dead City. So I'm kind of thinking about talking about stuff like that. They also have the other spin-off with Daryl and everything, so I'm really interested in probably talking about that and Fear is actually wrapping up too as well. So thinking about doing some other reviews, maybe some movie reviews in the very near future. So a lot to really think about as well for the pop culture side of things. And as always, definitely check out my main YouTube channel for gaming and as well vlogs and all that good stuff. I'm looking to do more there as well. So it's plenty to look forward to. So that about does it for this episode anyway for the In the Hot Seat podcast. I'll catch everyone next time for the In the Hot Seat podcast.